The array command is a little bit more complex and intricate than some of the other AutoCAD commands. We're going to play with 3 different ways you can do an array quickly, but it's just going to take some time to toy with the settings to kind of get what you want. So if you go to your Home tab, Modify panel, click on Array, the bottom right icon, or you can type in AR for the keyboard shortcut. I'm going to select my object. I want this circle. Hit Enter. And I want to do a rectangular array in this case. It's going to give me a little something to start with, and then I can either play with these grips to get more rows and columns and different things. But I would recommend just going down to the bottom and clicking on or typing in these letters to get your different settings so you can type in exactly what you want. I'm going to click on columns, and I don't want 4, I want 10. So I'm going to hit 10, enter, and that's going to give me 10, and they're all equally spaced. And then it's asking, the very next prompt is the spacing between columns. Let's increase that to 3. And I want to do the same thing for the rows. So I can click rows, and the number of rows, I want 10. It's asking me again for the distance between. I'm going to go 3. You can kind of see what happens there. I'm going to hit enter when I'm done. Now this is an array object if you look in your properties box. You can also in your properties box change the amount of columns. Let's say I want 12 and 8 rows. You can change those things here. You can also, begin to play with your grips. If I wanted to fill out this whole square and say, okay, yeah, that looks great. You can also, change your base point and different things when you're starting the command. You're just going to have to play around and see what works for your situation. But that kind of gives you an idea of how to play with it. The next way to do an array is by using a path. In this example, I'm going to do like a parking lot. And I'm going to go ahead and select my object, type in AR, enter for array. The type will be path. And then select the path. This could be a curve. In my case, it's a line. And I'll click on that, and it's going to automatically spit out a bunch of objects. And there's a bunch of different settings that you can play with. I tend to keep things pretty simple, and I click on items, and it's asking me the distance between items along that path, and parking spaces are often 9 feet apart, so I'm just going to go ahead and hit 9 for this example, and hit enter. If I need more, I have to extend my path. You can see if I extend my path, it's going to keep creating things. And then there's also something pretty cool about this. You can add rows to your path array. If I want, let's say, 2 rows, that whole thing will be essentially what looks to be like copied up. And then there is spacing between rows. And so let's say I need 20 feet or 20 feet for the parking row. I'm going to add that on to my length of my space because this is the base point. So it's going, right now it's going 30 feet from my base point. So that's 20 feet and then another 10 feet to where it starts this. So I'm going to go ahead and add 20 to 20, which makes 40. And you get something like this. So it can be very handy if you're drawing something like parking lots. Another method of doing arrays is the polar. So in this case, I want to copy this line all the way around this circle, almost like a clock. So AR, enter, select my line, which I have drawn touching the quadrant of the circle, hit enter, and I'm do PO for polar. Specify the center point. In this case, I'm going to do the center of my circle, and then you can see it's already keeping things, tangent and equidistant around this circle, and you can just play around with the settings. But once again, I typically do items, and then the number of items in the array, so how many there are being divided amongst the circle. I've got 6, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're all equidistant. I'm going to do 12. And it's just that simple.